This is a representation of the National Library of Australia's defining moments in Australia's history represented on Temporal Earth. Now I'm looking at the 50,000 year timescale here, and we should see the first moment represented by arrival of people in Australia. You can see I've marked the moment here, and I've given all these moments both a location on the timeline as best I can based on their actual date, right down to the day if possible, and insofar as it's possible, a position on the globe as well. So there's the first moment. You can see people entering the country, travelling down. The red dots represent archaeological dates, and these icons here represent the various megafauna fossils that have been found around Australia. Okay, the second moment is the first rock art. You can see that's up in Kakadu area. Then we have the earliest evidence of the boomerang. Here we have Australia breaking off from Tasmania, and then up here is probably where the dingo would have arrived approximately, insofar as we know. And here are the moments from European contact onwards. So the 17th century, we have the Dufkin coming down and doing the first mapping of Australia, and then later in approximately the start of the 18th century, we get Macassan traders coming down from the north down to the Arnhem Land area and trading with indigenous people. So moving further on, there's James Cook claiming Australia for Britain, the arrival of the First Fleet. I think that's Pemulwuy staging a resistance fight. Introduction of the merino sheep. Circumnavigation of Australia. Some of these times I have to sort of choose somewhere here that perhaps represents the location. And it goes onwards from there. You can see that they start to bunch up more, but with the way that the Temporal Earth timeline works, you can always stretch this out. Now, something that I noticed can be a little bit of a problem, that the defining moments list is just listed by year, but I've been able to expand that to often a date within the year. However, sometimes that means that the order of the dates gets flipped around, so you can see now 28 actually comes a bit earlier than 27. 28 being building the telegraph, 27 being free, compulsory and secular education introduced in Victoria. So let's zoom back out. I'll just skip rather rapidly through this. We should be able to see what happens through time. You can see they start to get more and more concentrated as we get into the 20th century. This is the Second World War, has quite a number, particularly at the end. And they get more and more concentrated, particularly into the last couple of decades. Anyway, so I think that's a demonstration of what this Temporal Earth is capable of in terms of presenting these moments. I think it's a really good way of highlighting particular events that may not be seen on the map, be visible on the map normally, but just to point out that there's things going on at particular locations at particular times. Something I haven't got around to doing yet is to start distributing these locations and actually placing them on the different locations on this this timeline to mark particular spots. So for example, 55 is Qantas established, and so we could actually mark that on the particular location up here. Notice that that's not actually the first air route to be established. There's one over in Western Australia, actually, before that. Actually, I think that one's Qantas established. There we are. Yes, you can see it's in Queensland. And this one would be the next one. Australian Aboriginal Progressive Association formed.